Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Edward Plazola, and my presentation will be about the false social construction of the so-called hyperfertile Latina and its socio-economic consequences. Now, to begin with, social construction is the idea that physical ideas about the material world arise from social consensus. This is done in order to better predict the actions of other individuals within a society. The hyperfixation of white suburban America is a prime example of this. Now, the real danger of the myth of the so-called hyperfertile Latina was how beginning in the 1930s, states all across the United States of America began to institute policies of forced sterilization, where doctors would coerce patients, mainly Latinas, using dubious methods like making pregnant Latinas sign sterilization papers when they had just finished giving birth after a cesarean section was performed, or in some cases during the birth itself. In other cases, many doctors would use pain-killing injections in order to coerce these new mothers to be sterilized. These injections would be used as a form of bargaining chip in which many of these Latinas who are in pain from just giving birth would agree to. Now, this atrocity did not happen in a vacuum. The justification of these forced sterilizations can be directly attributed to a form of white cultural supremacism called eugenics, which is a physical attempt or process of human manipulation to change the gene pool for the better, quote unquote, better for humanity. In regard to the forced sterilization of thousands of Latinas, it was done and justified by medical doctors. These doctors implemented a form of eugenics by forcefully and intentionally sterilizing these Latinas for the purpose of trying to improve society in their own twisted way. These sterilizations were not only justified by eugenics, but also through economics. Rhetoric kept appearing in the movie No Más Bebés about how many of these doctors exclaimed how there are simply too many Mexicans, and the idea that society will have to take care of them was a constant theme in many of the articles and stories. Furthermore, a recurring theme was how these Latinas simply want enormous families and that there are simply not enough resources to go around. Simply put, this is a racist lie, spread through a process called medicalization, which essentially gives doctors the authority to decide what is pathological and how to fix it, and the authority how to cure or fix it. These racist lies are simply not true. In many Latino families, it is not the fact that the hyperfertile Latina will give birth to more Latinos, but the fact that the Latino family structure simply incorporates more people into their grouping. For example, in many Latino families, the tios and tias act as secondary parents in support of the real parents. Additionally, in many Latino families, the cousins are often seen as siblings to one another. One of the more interesting aspects of this liberal incorporation is how the married offspring of people already in the family have assigned names and roles within that family, called concuños. These concuños, regardless of race, will have the authority and respect equivalent to that of a parent. Now that you understand the rhetoric, it is your turn to fight back against these racist lies, or else these lies will only ferment, resulting in more violence against us once again.